whoa. Bitch, be for real. Let's make a deal. Bitch, be for real. Here's you over pill. Okay, let's make a deal. Rubble silk skin. She wanna see my purple pickle up in the wind. Some cutters off, bitch, get
You're tracking, like, I don't know what's going on here. No one made the claim that people generally have realist intuitions. I never said that. I think the intuition surrounding morality is really context dependent. What I said is specifically that given the fact that we have this semantical intuitions that people have about what is moral, what is immoral, given that being the type of thing which is not incompatible with neither realism nor anti-realism, then it would not be the case that the semantics revolving around morality is conceptually closed to moral anti-realism or subjectivism.
Yeah. So now I just want to ask you, so you also believe that like claims which aren't conceptually closed to mental predicates, they are usually reporting objective facts?
Yes, if they, like, not claims, sorry, things which aren't conceptually closed to mental states, if they exist, usually are objective features of the world. There are
can you give me
millions of
examples?
examples of this. This is a strong inductive. Yeah, sure. A wall, you exist in, my eyeball, a rock, for example. We can go on and on and on. This phone that I'm using right now, the app Discord, YouTube, like the websites that we see on the internet, for example, or a church, a mall. All of these things, by definition, are not mental states, and they're objective features of the world. Like,
Yeah.
there you go.
I mean, I guess that's fine. Like, maybe I can grant that. What's it called? Maybe I can grant that. Like, there might be an inductive case there. But the sort of other questions that I have now is, one. So, how do you account for like people being generally motivated to act in a way which they believe is moral under a realist view?
I don't see how this is contended the argument.
Okay, so the sort of like things I'm trying to question here is, one, it seems as if anti-realism is able to act in a way in which is moral, more so compared to realism. Because again, for example, it doesn't seem as if we have a good way of actually explaining what a stance-independent reason is or stance-independent motivations are. Whereas we can easily explain
How is this lowering the probability of moral realism? I'm sorry, I'm not getting it. Like,
because
I don't see how explanatory power of a given view raises the probability of that view.
Yeah, so again, all I'm trying to point out is that if there's this certain sort of observations we can see whenever like we're observing the moral domain, we observe typically that people are motivated to do things which they believe is good. Then also we also like we have no way of actually saying that, oh well, if moral realism is true, they have no way of explaining this, they have no way of accounting for this. Whereas if
What do you
anti-realism
think
is
the
true,
moral realist is unable to explain?
yeah, I don't think a moral realist is able to explain how people have such strong desires to act in a way in which they believe is good.
How is a moral realist unable to explain that?
Yes, okay, so again, there doesn't seem to be much empirical data backing the fact that there are stance-independent motivations. So even independent of all of your desires, when presented to this specific fact, that would suddenly motivate you to act a specific way. It doesn't seem as if there's multiple observations which seem to align with that worldview. It doesn't seem as
Hold
if...
on. I'm asking, I may have just lost you there, but what specifically is the argument for why a moral realist is unable to explain the desires? And I don't even know what you mean by desires. If you're talking about intuition, then that's a different topic. If you're talking about instincts, or you could say some sort of like gut feeling to do an action, or the gut feeling to believe that's an
behavioral
action
states,
wrong or okay, then that's a different topic. I don't know what you mean by desire, firstly. And secondly, what's the argument that the moral realist is unable to explain the state of it?
Yeah, so one, I'm really just referring to like emotional states there, or no emotional states, or like specifically what I'm referring to whenever like I'm talking about, like, I'm just like observing people's behavior. So whenever people are like, whenever they become sensitive to a specific fact, say that this action is good or bad, it seems as if that generally we have a strong desire towards acting that specific way.
Will you take those
Like,
desires to be intuitions? Because I just take those to be intuitions.
Intuitions, like, I mean, well, I don't know if I'd make a claim on like
If you're not
every
saying they're
single one.
intuitions, I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, well, you could say like, oh, people have intuitions or something, or it does seem as if people suddenly have
Yeah,
like
I just take type
motivation
of
to act in a
emotional
specific
feelings we
way.
have, I just say the type of emotional feelings we have to act in a particular way to just be intuitions.
I mean, maybe I can grant that, right? It's just an intuition which is making us act this specific way. But again,
Yeah, how is the moral realist
again,
unable
wait,
to
to be
explain
clear,
this?
all I'm trying to point out is just the fact that if the sort of like thing that they were becoming sensitive to was something stance independent, which would mean that even if they did not have any sort of even if they didn't have any sort of like desires to act in that specific way, they would act that way anyway. It doesn't seem to actually be something that we can observe with any other type of fact, right? It doesn't seem as if
Well,
so.
what you're
Take
just
that.
saying here
Wait,
simply that it seems
mhm.
to be the case that you're unable to explain this. I'm asking how is this an argument for the claim that you're unable to explain
Yeah.
this?
So the
Because
argument
the
would
moral
be.
realist can always appeal to
Mhm.
neuroscientific studies, which actually delves into the idea that intuitions have a sensory motor grounding, which are determined based off of past experiences, and the fact that these intuitions, given like how evolution works, are generally things which tracks facts of the world. And so the reasons why we have these intuitions towards acting this way is because these intuitions are again epistemic guidelines towards the objective facts of the world. That's the means by which a more realist can explain that emotional data. So again, I don't see how it
Wait,
is
can
the
you repeat
case
what you said?
that you're justified in believing that the moral realist is unable to explain the data that you're talking about.
Wait, can you repeat what you said?
I'm saying that they can appeal to certain neuroscientific phenomena. They can appeal to the fact
Hmm.
that intuitions, given like neuroscientific studies, are grounded by sensory motors, right? So they have sensory motor groundings, and so the types
Hmm.
of things which motivates intuitions are a set of past experiences. And so the reasons why we have these intuitions to act in a particular way is given similar experiences in non-moralistic domains, which would
Hmm.
actually help us to find the facts of the things in the moral domains, right? And so
Yeah.
we can use that as an
Mhm.
explanation for why we have these intuitions. We have these intuitions because this action is actually the type of thing which is objectively moral.
Okay. Yeah. So I doubt that specifically the sort of intuitions we have towards the moral domain or the sort of desires towards acting here. Maybe I'll explain it like that. We have certain sort of desires to act in a specific way. So there's the murderer and I recognize the murder is wrong, immediately it seems as if I have or immediately I do have a desire to actually stop that murderer from
But
stabbing
you
Shizu
granted
in
that
the
these
neck,
are
for
intuitions, by
example.
the way. I'm asking you, how is it the case
Can
that
I
given
finish?
what I
Wait,
just said,
can I
they'll be
finish? Wait,
unable?
can I finish? So again,
Yeah,
maybe it's
I'd
like
really
wait,
appreciate if you
wait,
finished
wait,
responding to my question instead of
wait,
responding
wait,
to something else. I'm
can
not
I
saying that.
can I finish the sentence first and then we you can like ask a question again maybe. But again, the type of thing I'm trying to explain here is that if we have desires towards acting this specific way upon becoming sensitive towards the fact that it is moral, right? If the
Okay.
sort of moral fact that we were becoming sensitive to was something which would motivate us even independently of the fact that independently who's pinging me on Teams, even independently of the fact that we had any sort of desire towards it, then I just ask for if there's any sort of empirical work that actually grounds that or explains like the sort of specific stance independent topic that you're talking about.
Wait, sorry, what are you saying that is unexplained here? Are you saying the emotional data regarding intuitions is unexplained?
I'm trying to point out that the sort of link
Because
between
I just gave a
recognized.
potential explanation for the moral realist. That would
Wait.
be false.
You asked me a question while I was trying to explain. So, just so I'm extremely specific, the type of thing that I'm trying to explain here is I'm just trying to say the more realist can explain here is the strong desires which are caused by recognizing that a given sort of action is moral or immoral. Right? And that strong, like a more realist would have to say that it would motivate you to act in that specific way, even if you didn't have any sort of desire towards it, or it'd give you a reason to act. But then one, I don't know what a reason would look like there, and then two, I don't know like how that would motivate you at all. Maybe you have a
Wait, so
different
now you're
explanation
saying
for
that
that.
they're unable to explain the reasons for actions, not that they're unable to explain the desires that motivates them to doing actions or performing actions. So that's just you
I
changing the
thought I was
position
saying
there.
the same thing the whole time, but I mean,
No,
if
you
you
weren't.
didn't
You said
interpret it like that,
specifically,
but
no, you
then
said
that's fine.
specifically, no, you said specifically that the moral realist said this on the recording. Good thing I
Hmm.
recorded from that time onwards. You said it is the case that the moral realist is unable to explain these strong desires that we have to do a particular action. I said I don't know what those desires would be if they're not intuitions. You said you can grant these to be intuitions. So then the new claim is simply they're unable to explain the intuitions we have which motivates us to do a specific action, which actually makes them believe the action to be moral or immoral, respectively. Then I gave an explanation that they could actually utilize to explain why we have these intuitions. Then you are saying currently that it is not the case that you're contending the explanatory issue regarding the intuitions. You're contending whether they're able to explain reasons for actions, which is what you take the moral facts to be, which is different from the emotions you initially said are unexplained
Okay.
by the moral realist.
So I mean, maybe there was like just talking past going on. My view extremely clear so that you like there's no misunderstanding. I'm trying to ask a very simple question, which is one, because of the fact that it seems as if whenever we recognize that a given action is moral or immoral, right? We seem to have extremely strong desires and reasons to act in that specific
And you
way.
said that cannot be
Wait,
explained.
can I finish? I'm clarifying my
Strong
stance. So,
desires, never said reasons. Strong desires,
wait,
that's
can
very
I
important.
finish? Wait, can I finish? So
You can finish, but I'm interrupting you because you're
okay.
already adding
So
in something you did not
again,
say
under
previously.
like a what's it called? I
Okay.
assume you don't think. Wait, okay. So I
Uh-huh.
assume you don't think that reasons are the type of things which can be boiled down to desires. So I'll just use the words as
I
if they
never
aren't
said
wrong.
that it is logically impossible for that to be the case.
Yeah, obviously. Okay, obviously. I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
talking
saying
about your
can't. I
actual
don't know
view.
why you're trying to misuse language for the sake of giving you some sort of upskill
You
here at
know
the
the
point.
intention. Okay, so you know the
I don't know the
intention, right?
intention. I think your intention is being dishonest right now, but that's
Okay.
fine. Again, I say
Mhm.
I'm not making that claim. So we can
Yeah.
continue.
Okay. So are you a reasons internalist or externalist?
I'm agnostic on reasons, internalism versus externalism, in the sense that
Okay.
you're talking.
Yeah, that's fine
I
then.
don't know
But
what you mean by
then
reasons.
I'll just go on with the explanation then with that new knowledge in
By the way,
mind.
do you understand the different
What
types
in
of
the
reasons? Are you
world?
talking about
Am I
like
going to be able to
are
finish
you
the sentence or no?
are you talking
Wait.
about motivational reasons?
Hmm?
Are you talking about motivating reasons?
Yes.
Clearly, I'm not going to be a reasons externalist about motivated reasons. When we're talking the type of reasons which are relevant to moral realism versus anti-realism is normative reasons, not motivating reasons.
Wait, okay. So you
You don't
would
understand
also
the
grant the
distinction there?
fact, wait. So you'd grant the fact that the reason why people are motivated to do actions which are good, is because it aligns with some desire they have?
No.
You you just said you want a motivational externalist.
No, yeah, I said given motivational reasons, I would not be an externalist. That's relevant to moral realism versus anti-realism.
Wait, so wait, to be clear, what do you okay, okay. Maybe
The reasons which are
I'm deaf
relevant
and
to
dumb,
the
right?
domain of morality is normative
Wait,
reasons.
no, wait. Maybe I'm deaf and dumb, but did you not just
This is
say
just like
wait,
an obvious striking button.
did you not just say that that you
I'm not
have
a
no
reasons
reason to be
externalist about motivated
wait,
reasons. Yeah,
yeah, okay, so you
What
aren't
about
a
it?
reasons externalist, right? So you
About
would agree,
motivational
okay,
reasons, about
so
motivated
okay,
reasons.
yeah. And what do you take that view to be?
I take that view to be the case that it is not true that reasons are the types of things which motivates us to do an action is the type of thing which is external to the mind.
Okay, so when I asked you
I don't think
that,
reasons in the holistic domain motivates you to do anything.
wait. So when I asked
I'm
you,
waiting for you to
like
give a good
you
response,
hold
retard.
to, when I asked you whether or not you hold the view that the reason why we're motivated to do any specific action is because of our desires, right? You said no.
You're not tracking. Look, someone is
Like
saying
what?
someone, and that someone, by the way, is the person you're talking to. So I'm just have to like be really clear on who you're talking to here because you're not tracking anything that's going on for the past couple
I
of
forgot.
minutes, right? So again, what I'm saying here is pretty simply that motivational reasons are not external to the mind, they're not stance independent. But normative
Uh-huh.
reasons, which is what determines the moral facts, which is what the moral facts are actually identical to, those reasons are external to the mind.
Okay.
Comprehending?
And what do you take a normative reason to be?
I take a normative reason to be something which is semantically primitive. But if I was to give a definition, that which would actually require more disambiguation, my definition would be something like it's
Mm-hmm.
the relevant type of content which determines
Mm-hmm.
what we ought to do and what we ought not to do. And those types of oughts are going to be action. Wait, hold on there. Someone just texted me. It's going to be action conducting principles. There you go.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let me write that down too so I don't miss that. So normative reasons are what? Repeat that slowly. I'm not
Normative
fast.
reasons are the types of content which is going to be identical to what we ought to do and what we ought not to do.
And that is the type, and what we ought to do and what we ought not do is independent from our desires.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want a definition of what ought is, my best definition is the relevant types of facts which determines whether something is necessary, justified, or unjustified from an action perspective.
I didn't hear a word of the second part, but you can repeat
I'm saying
it.
that if you want a definition for what it means for us to have like an ought, I take oughts to be the types of things which, based off the correct ethical principles in the background, are, you could say, constitutive of an action being unjustified, justified, or morally obligatory.
Justified. I'm not writing all of that down. Okay, that's
That's
fine.
cool. You
So
don't have to, but well, actually, you
yeah,
do
yeah,
need to
no,
write
don't
it all
worry.
down because
But
you might
what
actually
did you
have
say?
the worst time tracking if you don't write down anything right now. But that's fine. But what's your response to what I'm saying currently? I'm
Yeah,
curious.
okay. So
Mm-hmm.
you take so you take the view that like more
Take your
content,
time.
or like you take the view that more, okay. Are you gonna keep doing the, okay? But
No, I'm
you take
just
the view
really
that
concerned
normative
about
reasons are the
what's
type
going
of
on
things
here.
which are
You
going
seem
to
to
be
be
minded.
struggling right now.
Okay. Am I
Mm-hmm.
going to finish the sentence or what's going
Well,
on?
you're trying to a while ago without me interrupting, and you're struggling really badly. So I'm
Yeah,
really concerned
so
with you.
you take, okay. Then
Mm-hmm.
sorry, Apollo.
Continue,
Let's
man.
try again a third time. So you take the
Yeah,
view that the sort of normative reasons we have are mind independent, and the
of
reason
course.
you
Those are
have,
the relevant reasons to moral facts. Yeah.
and the reason you have for that view is because of the fact that that is some conceptual closure argument. You said that if it isn't conceptually closed to mental predicates, then it likely reports an objective fact.
No, I'm saying that if the type of thing, like normative reasons, like that thing which is morality, that thing, if that is not conceptually closed to, you could say, mental predicates, then it is more than likely not subjective.
So the moral, okay. So
Because
just so
most
we're
things,
clear, the
if
moral
it's not
thing, if it's
conceptually
the
closed,
type of thing which is not
I thought you
conceptually,
wanted further clarification.
okay.
Do you
So
want
the
further
moral thing,
clarification?
okay. So it's just
Yes or
don't
no?
let Sharon speak day today, I guess. But
Do you
so the
want
moral,
further
okay,
clarification?
yeah, okay. I
No?
follow. Really, really, really.
It's a
So
yes or no. It's a yes or no,
wait.
Shinra. What's
So
going on?
can I finish the sentence or
I wasn't finished with my point. You interrupted my point.
go
And then
ahead?
when
Go
you
ahead.
interrupt my point,
Go
I'm
ahead. Go
asking
ahead.
you, do you want further clarification? So to further
The
clarify what
answer
I'm
is
saying
no.
here, because you're so eager on the, I don't know, the gotcha points which you're failing horrendously on. All I'm just saying there is that given the data, which is majority of things which are conceptually closed to mental states, are the types of things which are objective if they exist. It will be the case that if you're going to be talking about like moral entities or moral facts, whatever those things are, given that they are not conceptually closed to mental states, then more than likely they are not going to be the types of things which are subjective. They're going to be objective features of the world.
Okay. And
Can you
you said
response?
the reason why, okay. And the reason why that moral or the moral domain isn't conceptually closed to mental predicates is because,
We've already went over this and you've already agreed that they aren't. It's unrecorded.
yeah, look, okay, I'm just trying to get clear on the reasons first before I respond.
I don't
So
know
the
why I'm
reason
going to re-go
is,
over the look. This is the third time you're asking me the same thing. We've went over the
you,
reason 2 times. All right,
uh-huh,
this is not a class. This is not a class for special eds. I assume you're not a special ed. You don't have to go over the same
I'm in
thing
fact
three
not.
times. You've already agreed to
Yeah.
this. The last time I went over this,
Okay,
we
so
went over this three
just
times.
I'm just going like respond to what I can remember. So you said specifically the last time we were speaking was that something like, oh well, based off of analysis. Okay, anyways, you gave, but based off of analysis of how people use moral terms,
Stop paying
it seems as
attention to
if,
the chat, buddy.
wait,
Pay
what
attention
in
to the
the
conversation.
world? Like Apollo, really? Can I finish the sentence?
Yeah, you need to stop paying attention to the chat because that's worse than your tracking skills. Pay
Okay.
attention to what I'm
So
saying.
can I finish the sentence? Thank you for the
Yeah,
advice.
finish
Can I
now.
finish
I'm
the
just giving you
sentence?
a heads up. I'm giving you a pro tip.
Okay.
Go
So,
for it.
okay. Thank you. So, the sort of argument you were making earlier, at least from what I can remember, is just the fact that typically, whenever people are talking about morality, then they aren't talking about the type of thing which can be ultimately reduced down to some desires that they have. Then you brought up an instance of people having utilitarian intuitions. But now, my question is okay, well, why, just because they have like utilitarian intuitions, does not mean ultimately that what they're referring to, or this type of thing which makes maximizing utility even relevant or good in the first place is not because of some desire that they have. So the reason why they
So
have these
yeah, that's retarded.
so the reason why they have these
It's not
desires,
because
or the reason why they hold this view where
changes.
something is good if it maximizes utility, the reason why they care about utility in the first place would ultimately just be reducible down to some preference. So again, I don't understand what the sort of empirics there would actually do in terms of supporting
Yeah,
that,
so I have what you said
supporting
quoted. I
like
just typed it out in the
your
chat. So you
conclusion.
said that it does not mean that the things that motivates them into belief in this is not because of some desires they have, correct?
Uh, why?
When
Okay.
they
Did
when
you
they
listen to
believe
what
that
I
something
just
is
said?
moral. Wait, so this is what you're saying. You're saying that it does
Mhm.
not necessarily mean that when they believe that something is moral, it isn't because of some desires they have, correct?
What did you say? I don't understand the power of a
I'm
reason's
saying
internal.
that, so if you're going to be saying that it does not necessarily mean that the causal explanation for people's moral beliefs and what they're saying in moral language is not some desires they have, that is not going to be
Give me a
incompatible
second.
with
Give me a
moral realism.
second. My PC's lagging out. Give me a second.
Okay. And your thought process is lagging out too, clearly. But continue, man. I'm waiting.
Okay. Hello?
I'm listening.
Okay. Can you say something really quickly? I just need to make sure my audio won't start lagging out while you
Oh,
say
by the way,
something.
Kay, just to clarify something, I didn't see your ping. I was saying that being if you're a reasons internalist, you'd be accepting the idea. Well, I was saying I'm a reasons internalist about motivating reasons, not a reasons internalist about normative reasons. So I'm just clarifying that part. So okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, you know what reasons internalism is, but I'm not sure if you know the different types of reasons which is communicated on the topic of reasons internalism versus externalism, which is what I'm clarifying
okay.
currently. So,
So,
I mean, to
mhm,
continue the conversation between me and you, Shinra, yeah, so if you're just
mhm.
saying that the causal explanation for moral beliefs or whatever you're talking about is could be just desires people have. Number one, that's not sufficient for establishing a reductivist thesis or semantic thesis. Number two, that is compatible with the moral realist position. And so what you're saying currently will not even be a successful undercutting defeater against my argument nor my position.
Yeah,
Anything else?
okay. So specifically the type of claim you were making was just that people have intuitions towards like utilitarian intuitions, and because they have utilitarian intuitions and they are compatible with realism and
Just the
anti-realism,
fact they have utilitarian
therefore wait
intuitions.
therefore it
I just
actually
said
okay
that.
wait can I finish
And that
therefore
wasn't even the only reason I've given. Like, what are you talking
can
about?
I finish the sentence?
You can finish a sentence. You just
Okay,
finish a sentence
okay.
by saying, can you finish a sentence?
Wait,
Finish the
okay. Are you
sentence.
going to keep doing the troll thing? I just need to finish the
I'm not
sentence.
trolling. You're the only one trolling by
But
asking me dumb questions. Like, what are you
okay,
talking about?
but therefore, all of a sudden, that it's now, therefore, that means it isn't conceptually close to like to anti-realism. But again, if what you mean by conceptual closure there is just some identity relation, then I don't understand why, whenever people are expressing the fact that they have intuitions towards maximizing well-being, all they're just saying there is, oh, hey, well, I have extremely strong desires towards maximizing well-being, right? All of this sort of polling which you give me that can be accounted, that you say, oh, well, can point towards both directions. I don't understand why it wouldn't just be a completely anti-realist exclusive thing where all they're just saying there is just, oh, well,
Because
hey, I
there's no
have this
logical
preference whenever
contradiction
they
in
say
granting the
what is good is what
semantics.
maximizes
And
well-being. That's
you
one.
just
And then
agreed
two, you
originally
said
that,
earlier on that if I make
yeah,
a sort of
you're still
semantic claim
yapping.
and I say what is good is what I is like what aligns with my own personal desires, I'm not making a metaphysical claim. So, and I'd like you to elaborate further on what you mean when you say that. I'm not really sure,
What are
but
you talking
you
about?
can go
Like,
ahead
look,
because I
this is
didn't
actually like
listen
so
to
embarrassing.
that.
Okay,
But
this is like your most embarrassing performance of the year, and it's because you're going up against the best debater of the year, right? So look, if you're going to be talking about like, for
of the
one, you
year is
just went
crazy.
off point. You went off point specifically to the semantic thesis, metaphysical thesis stuff, irrelevant to what we're talking about currently. What we're talking about here is the fact that given the utilitarian intuition stuff that's compatible with both views, you agreed on the recording the utilitarian intuitions and utilitarianism, which you agree that majority of people who engages in moral language actually agrees with, is compatible with both moral realism and anti-realism respectively. So you agree that it is compatible with both. So clearly it's not the case you believe that it will be conceptually close to anti-realism. Number two, it is not the case that I use this as the major reason. The main reason as to why I said that it is not conceptually close to mental states is based off the definition of what it means for something to be good, evil, moral, and immoral respectively. according to scholastic definitions. Nothing about
And
those definitions entails desires. Okay? It is
okay,
possible under those definitions that moral realism is true. There's no logical contradiction entailed from such, and so the absence of logical contradiction in the data would be evidence. In the data, sorry, would be evidence for the claim
yeah.
that
Now, what's the scholastic definition?
it is not conceptually close to moral answer realism.
Yeah, what's the scholastic definition?
The scholastic definition of what it means for something to be moral, sorry, is simply the, let's see, look at the scholastic definition. Here it goes. Concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior.
Okay, what does right mean
Yep,
there?
that's it. Nothing about the definition entails that moral realism is false.
Wait, okay, but that's operating under the sort of assumption that whenever they're saying
Is
right,
it?
what they just wait.
It's not
That's
operating
operating.
under any
Wait. Can I finish? So it's
How does it
if
entail
it's
that
wait
the
if
moral
it's
realism is
governing.
false?
Wait, okay, can I finish? So if
You can't
specifically
finish.
what you
You
said
argued
is
for
true. Wait,
the same
okay,
stuff.
wait. Can I finish?
Where's the can't finish? Speak.
Can I finish? Wait, can I
Clearly, you
finish?
can't finish. You have to finish your
Okay,
sentences,
but
retard.
anyways,
Finish your
so if
sentences.
you're trying to say that based off of the scholastic definition, right,
Yep.
that it points towards or it can point towards either side, that would have to be assuming that whenever people are speaking, whenever they are using that sort of definition, which is sort of principles that govern over right and wrong, that don't just specifically also mean just preferences, right? That I prefer or don't
No, it
prefer
doesn't.
X. I don't know why I grant that it's something that
Here
could
are
be
the two
compatible with
propositions,
both.
and if you can establish the contradiction, that would be
Hmm?
great.
What'd you say?
So, and also, Hard, I don't think a cave is a nice house. So
Oh,
just
what'd you
gonna
just
tap
say?
that out real quickly. Secondly, so here are the two propositions, and just establish the contradiction for me real quickly. Moral realism is true.
Uh-huh.
That's proposition one. Proposition two, that which is moral is that which is concerned with
Oh wow.
right behavior.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so look at these two
mhm.
propositions. Where's the contradiction?
Yeah. So again, the sort of claim I was making before is just that for you to say that this specific definition of moral realism isn't conceptually closed, right, to mental predicates, you'd have to be assuming that this sort of subjectivist like semantic thesis is false, which you haven't given an argument for. So whenever they bring up right or wrong there,
Oh,
you'd have
sorry.
to
I'm
be
asking for a
assuming that what they mean there, well, you'd have to be assuming that what they mean there isn't just something that is
contradiction.
directly conceptually close to mental predicates,
None of what you're
right,
saying
for
is the
your argument
contradiction.
to work.
So all I'm asking for is, given these two propositions, where's the contradiction?
Are you following the conversation, dude?
I'm following the conversation much better than you are. I'm following your own points better
Yeah,
than you are
look,
right now. Where's the contradiction?
definitely. So, look,
Where's
again,
the contradiction?
if you're trying to say
Proposition one, moral realism is
the
true.
entire point is,
I'm
look,
gonna
the
give you one
entire
more time,
argument
retard.
you're making is just that
Yeah,
the main
I'm gonna keep
definition.
on
Look,
cutting you off the more
okay,
you gibber to the conversation. Yeah.
okay,
I have a
I have
debate
a better mic
policy
than you,
which
but
states that the more
uh huh.
someone actually gibberates into a whole bunch of nonsense, is the more I'm going to keep on interrupting them. That's my debate policy. Okay. The
Okay.
reason I'm interrupting you this
Uh-huh.
often is because you're not tracking the conversation, and it's a
Yep.
whole bunch of bullcrap in this conversation. Okay.
Indeed.
You're just getting a whole bunch of fecal matter currently. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, where's the contradiction given these two propositions? Proposition one, moral realism is true. Proposition two, that which is moral is that which is concerned with right behavior.
So, look, I'm going to explain it
You
simply
don't
for
understand
you.
the contradiction.
Right?
It's going to be a
Yeah, look, I'm
criticism.
just going to explain it simply for you, and then we can wrap up the conversation
Yeah,
here.
that's the
If the
contradiction.
type of claim
What's
you're
the first
making is
problem?
just was the sort of main reason you're giving towards this not being conceptually closed is because
Shinra, that's not a contradiction. Okay? So the thing I do in my server, I don't waste time with this whole bunch of bullcrap like you guys do. It's just contradiction. If there's no contradiction, that's evidence for it not being conceptually closed, clearly. P and not P, please.
you'd have to be assuming
Sorry.
the subjectivist semantic thesis is false for your claim to work.
P and not P.
That's not a contradiction.
Okay. You are begging the question whenever you make the argument. Is that simpler for you to understand?
Buddy, I'm not begging the question. Right? We look towards the data, we just conceptually analyze these terms, right? Given our knowledge, even though it's limited regarding the semantical analysis of these terms, there's no contradiction. And in most cases, whereas we see an absence of contradiction, there actually is not a contradiction, okay? So the data, which is an absence of contradiction, will be evidence for it being the case that is not conceptually closed to moral and to realism. So again, just show me the contradiction. Just P and not P, please. If there's no contradiction, given the current data in this discourse and in the discourse, then that's evidence for my position.
Yeah, can you repeat what you said?
All I'm saying here is simply that given our current semantical analysis of the terms we're talking about, which is moral and, for example, something like desires, whatever, given those terms, the conceptual analysis of such, it doesn't seem to be the case that something can be moral or something be moral independently of desires existent until there's a contradiction. Okay. Now, if you can present the contradiction, that would be great. But given our current conceptual data of the terminologies, there's no explicit contradiction, and that would be evidence in favor of the hypothesis that it is the case that it is not conceptually closed to mental states. So again, if you can show the contradiction, that would be lovely.
Okay.
If not, that's evidence for my position.
So now that you're done with that, look, the initial claim you were making is the main reason why you believe that there isn't any sort of conceptual closure. Okay. So the main reason, are you going to like keep cutting me off? But anyways, the main reason why, as you said when you were speaking before, that you thought that's like that what is good and bad isn't just conceptually close to mental predicates. The main reason why you gave for that specifically was just that, after analyzing or looking at the scholastic usage of the terms, then it doesn't seem as if it's actually it doesn't seem as if what they mean that it's just something which is directly reducible down to preferences. Then when I ask you why, you just bring up how whenever they use the words right or wrong in the scholastic or in the quote-unquote scholastic definition, they don't make any sort of mention towards desires. But for that to work, you'd also have to be assuming that whenever they're talking about right or wrong, they aren't talking about something which is reducible to your desires. So again, it just seems as if you're assuming the truth of your conclusion within your premise, and it's just a waste of time, really.
The point is simply that the claim I'm making here, this is the claim I'm making, okay? The claim I'm making is that there's no conceptual closure between moral predicates or moral linguistic tokens and mental state linguistic tokens. There's no conceptual closure between these two. Now, what is expected under this hypothesis is that if we run a conceptual analysis of the terminologies and the semantics behind them, we would not see any explicit contradiction. That's expected under that hypothesis. Now, we look towards the linguistic tokens, which is morality or whatever, which is relevant to the moral domain, and mental predicates, and we don't see an explicit contradiction. Okay, so that's evidence for my position, because my position would expect that there would not be any contradiction if we actually run the conceptual analysis, given our limited knowledge or the amount of knowledge we have on the linguistic tokens that we're talking about. Very simple.
Okay.
There's no question negative. That's me actually establishing a prediction from my view. I'm saying our inability to show a contradiction without assuming subjectivism or objectivism is evidence for it being the case it is not conceptually closed to this specific thing we're talking about.
Okay. So look, I think I've already spoken about this enough. Like, you just repeated what you said before. I already gave you the same sort of issue.
Yeah, I'm repeating myself.
We can just wrap this up.
Not tracking. Clearly.
Yeah, we can just wrap this up then if you think that.
Yeah, gladly.
Yeah, so do you want to conclude or something?
Do you want?
So,
yeah, we can just end the recording here. It's just like a
shitty bitch.
another tracking blunder from another opponents of Apollo. Just embarrassing.